Thank you for welcoming me onto your screens or onto your headphones. Depending on how you're watching this. I'm Eddie, and this is The Rollback. Folks, I'm going to talk to you today about that 90s show, aka Worthy. So, quick synopsis. In the summer of 1995, Leah Foreman makes friends with a new generation of kids in Point Place, Wisconsin, where she decides to stay for the rest of the summer, along with her grandparents, Red and Kitty Foreman. So, pros. I don't even know where to start. This is nostalgia in the best way, but it has its own beating heart. This is a show that manages to capture the spirit of the original, but doesn't lean on it too much. There's a big difference between the two. Other shows that depend on nostalgia will force you to... They have to lean on the characters. That was the problem with Girl Meets World, for example. None of the new characters were that interesting, and they leaned too heavily on the old characters. The new characters couldn't really develop into anything interesting. Not so much here. That 90s show does use some of the original characters, but you have 6 whole new kids to follow. I mean, characters like Red and Kitty reinforce that. They're kind of the backbone of the story, an obstacle for the kids to overcome. But when Eric shows up, when, I was going to say Lori, but you and I both know Lori's not on there, Lori Pepperon. When Eric, Donna, Jackie, Kelso, and Fez, when they all appear in this show, they're not the central focus. They're a feature. These kids are the central focus. Leia is very clearly the main character in this one. She's the one that we watch this whole journey go through. Leia is her own person. She's Eric's daughter. She's awkward but nice, sarcastic but snippy. She's a teenager, and that's what you expect. This show does a brilliant job of capturing that part. Also, these are actual kids. These are teenagers. All the actors and actresses, the main 6, they're all actually between the ages of 15 to 18, except for Ozzy. I think he's actually 13. But it shows and it matters. These kids don't have 8-packs. These are awkward teenagers going through awkward teenage years, and that matters. It makes it more relatable. And even if you're not the core audience that they're trying to talk to, you can appreciate the story that they're telling. And that means a lot. Something that made Pixar so good in the original, not in the 70s show, but I mean originally, is the fact that they made movies with adult jokes that the parents could like. That's why Shrek is so popular, Toy Story is so popular. It's a story that adults can get behind. In that same way, that 90s show doesn't alienate older people. It's a new show for a new generation, but on the other side of the coin, people who have that nostalgia that watch that 70s show will enjoy this because it has that charisma, that flavor, that X factor that sounds insane because you can't really strike lightning in a bottle twice, but they did. That said though, Leia does come with her own cast of characters, and surprisingly they can each hold their own. Gwen is the next door neighbor that has a lot of attitude, but is also a really good friend. You have her brother Nate, who's the lovable loaf of the group. He's kind of the Ed of the group, the big Ed, the not Double D, not Eddie, Ed. Yeah. We also have Nate's bro, the new Kelso Jay, who, while he does have the girls go nuts over him factor of his father, he's more heartfelt than Kelso, which does speak volumes, again, to the writing of this character. They changed them enough. None of them are exact carbon copies of the originals. There's minor characteristics there, but you can tell. Ozzy is his own character, flamboyant in some ways, I don't want to say snappy, snippy, sarcastic. He has attitude, but fun attitude. He's never mean, he's just his own personality. Nikki's the one with her feet on the ground. Now, while Nikki and Nate are a couple, their relationship doesn't solely define them. They each have their own individual characteristics. On one side, I like the fact that we see Nate's relationship with Gwen and how they're both stepkids with the same mom but 2 different dads and how they clash there. On the other side of the coin, we see Nikki, how she's a little more mature than the other kids, how she has her feet firmly planted on the ground, but how that can be a problem when trying to talk to a bunch of teenagers who want more out of life. And while Kitty and Red are a perfect set of anchors to kind of hold down this entire show, they provide, like I said, obstacles for these characters to overcome, sneaking around the parents, or in this case the grandparents, with drug paraphernalia that I will not name. trying to get jobs, trying to see boys, holding hands, kissing, driving. At one point, there's a funny joke where Kitty calls Donna that Leia is about to have sex, and Donna shows up immediately. And there's some callbacks there, but again, Donna never takes over any of the scenes. She never takes over the show. It all is firmly in the lap of Leia. She's the driving character here, no one else, and that's a good thing. All that said, I'd be lying if I didn't say I popped when I saw the original characters. I laughed my ass off when Eric delivered his first "my foot in your ass." There's a lot of great moments in here, but again, they use these characters to elevate, and that's perfect. But Eric gets his own moment to shine. You see Donna and her close relationship with her daughter. You see Kelso, use a burn. I think you only see him once, if I'm not mistaken. Jackie makes a very minor appearance. Fez, he's probably the one that we see the most. I gotta imagine Wilmer doesn't have a lot to do. It's funny because you see him, he's struggling. Not struggling, that's not the right word. It's a bit odd to see Wilmer like this after seeing Fez and Wilmer being a normal person. I'm sure it took him a minute to get back in the groove of things, but it all worked. And also, I'd be lying if I didn't say I kind of hope in season 2 they have a bit of a bigger reunion where we see Eric, Donna, Fez, Jackie, and Kelso, and that's it. Because there's only 5 characters in that 70s show. There's only 5 of them. I wouldn't mind seeing the 5 of them share a scene. Maybe back in the basement where they have a deep conversation around the table, smoking incense. Also, speaking as a 90s kid, I really love the throwbacks. I love the fact that I can relate to a lot of what they're going through. Whoever wrote this show genuinely loved that 70s show and is managing to write scripts that fit in the best way. I do wish the seasons were longer, more than 10 episodes, but maybe that's a good thing because it's so concentrated. But I mean, if they wanted to make a 15 episode season, I wouldn't mind it, I'm just saying. Overall, this show is going to get an A from us here at the Rollback. But what do you think? What's your input on this new Netflix show? This show that somehow is brand new but captures the nostalgia of the original. What do you think? Comment down below. That said, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of the Rollback. Please like, subscribe, we greatly appreciate it. We're always trying to grow this channel. See you, everybody.